In today's show, we speak with two founders. One built a multinational healthcare organization in dozens of countries serving a B2B market. And the other built the same business that is now focused on the direct-to-consumer market. One key takeaway where we dive deep is how to deliver high quality at a low cost. Their answer is unique and should help with your business as well, no matter what category you're in.
Are you looking for new ways to make your sales grow? You've tried other podcasts, but they don't seem to know. Harvest the growth potential of your product or service as we share stories and strategies that'll make your competitors nervous. Now, here's the host of the Harvest Growth Podcast, John LeClaire.
Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm really excited to be speaking with a client of ours and good friends. We have two guests, as you can see if you're watching the video of this. We have Dr. K, who is a practicing neuroradiologist. As I've been told, a super doctor is what that means. So he can explain exactly his expertise, but a bigger part of his experience he'll talk about today, at least as it comes to today's interview, is that he is also the founder of CareClix. And you're going to find out what that means as we get into this interview. Also joining us, we have Mr. Scott, who's the CEO of one of CareClix's companies called MyGuardianDoc. So it's essentially the consumer arm of that. Again, we'll get into the details as we dive in, but both of these gentlemen have an array of experience in and out of the business world. One thing I'll mention quickly is Mr. Scott is actually a Horatio Alger nominee, which, if you know much about that, is a great honor. And we may talk about that as we get further into the interview, but I do want to spend some time in the very beginning explaining a bit more about CareClix, MyGuardianDocs, our doc, what the businesses are, how they relate to each other. And then we'll talk as we get through this, how the business has been, both of these really have been built up and the success stories behind them you can take into your own businesses as listeners as well. But Mr. Scott, Dr. K, welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much. Very glad to be here. Doc, so you want to get started on talking about CareClix and how it got founded and that kind of thing? Is that okay with you, John?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So thanks for having us here, John. CareClix we started over 10 years ago, really as a solution that would enable doctors and patients to interact with one another in a virtual setting so that you'd have the best of the best, getting access to doctors anytime, anywhere, any place. And we've built it over the last several years to the point where now we'll operate on a global basis in about 30 countries, and servicing mostly multinational corporations, benefits groups, large payers, insurance companies, these sorts of entities. We're on the business-to-business side of the world where we service and give medical services to patients that are coming to us from those different venues. Maybe now 2 years ago, we decided that it's time for us to provide a more consumer-facing product off of our existing CareClix platform. And so what we launched was MyGuardianDoc. And I think that's what we're here to talk about today is MyGuardianDoc, which is, as I said, is a consumer-facing of an existing product we've had running now for 10 years, both in the U.S., but also outside the U.S. and in multiple countries.
Thank you for that introduction. It does help. I'd love to talk about really both of these businesses are, as I understand it, very similar other than the clientele, right? So as you mentioned, CareClix is more targeted at large B2B or all sizes, but B2B organizations. MyGuardianDoc is targeted more at the consumer, the individual. So both very viable businesses in their own right, but they operate, as far as the care is concerned, the healthcare is concerned, they're very similar. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the product is the same product, which at the end of the day is a doctor-patient interaction to solve a medical problem, right? So that's consistent across the board.
But and there's probably one aspect to the direct-to-consumer that is normally with the B2B, it's urgent care, specialty services, and then there are other services that CareClix provides. On the direct-to-consumer side, there's a rather unique product. We call it compassionate medical guidance. You could equate it to direct care. If anyone is listening that understands something about the business of healthcare or healthcare, direct care is somewhat unique. It's normally where the patient or the client pays the doctor directly. There are no insurance companies involved, generally speaking, and it's very rare. Only mostly privileged and successful people. I wouldn't say successful, but the well-to-do, because it can be very expensive. So what we've done is added that piece on a virtual basis and working like the Dickens to make sure. So we've created a model that has the incredible quality of doctors and specialists like that CareClix has. As a matter of fact, that's where we get our services from, and the lowest cost. So it is a subscription-based program that allows for the one to kind of be for the many and the many for the one. Not everyone's going to use it at the same time. So when people ask us, how can we have such a great quality and low cost? It's basically a mathematical calculation. Not everyone's going to use it at the same time.
Right. And so you're getting high quality care that would normally be much more expensive and maybe out of people's price range, but for a much lower cost, because you can spread that cost for having it ready when you need it and realizing that not everybody typically needs it at the same time. So as the business grows, you can spread those costs and really share among others. So as you join the organization, as you join MyGuardianDoc, for example, and pay your small monthly subscription, realize that you're helping other people, right? That may need it right away, and you may need it down the road. And that's that help goes back and forth. So I'd like to talk about a little bit about direct care, as you mentioned it. I've heard you talk about it as medical guidance as well, and it's very different from traditional telehealth that some of our listeners may be familiar with. Can you talk about how you mentioned a couple of things already, but how is it different and better than traditional telehealth options that some people may have with existing insurance providers?
Well, Doc can probably help with this. He is in the business. He's a practicing neuroradiologist. I am not from the healthcare world or the medical world. I'm from the financial world, but I've been around here about 5 years now. So when you and I learned all this from Dr. K and these other doctors, but when you approach the healthcare system, whether it's virtually or going into a brick and mortar, you absolutely are going. You don't see the other side of the business. Now, there is a code and probably a protocol for almost anything that can happen. Generally, there's a reimbursement schedule, so the doctor gets reimbursed from whatever insurance companies they're dealing with. Except when it comes to medical guidance, most insurance companies or payors, Medicare, Medicaid, et cetera, do not have a code for direct care or medical guidance. So it generally is something that the person would have to pay for themselves. And in our opinion, it is an absolute essential in our healthcare system and the healthcare systems around the world to have this level of care. That's where we talk about world quality care, is because without this kind of care, where the doctor is not being in I don't want to say not having to deal with the insurance companies and dealing with the regulations, et cetera, et cetera. This is really between the doctor and the patient. And of course, if you can get it at a cost that the patient can afford, and we have it at a cost that everyone can afford, I think you've got what they call it's on fire, and everybody needs it, and more people are rushing to add MyGuardianDoc to their household healthcare program.
And I can add a little bit to what all this really means. So basically, think of it this way. Whenever you enter the healthcare ecosystem, you're coming in blinded, right? You have some symptoms. You don't know what those symptoms mean in terms of a diagnosis or treatment, but you don't feel well, right? And so you see a doctor, whoever maybe your primary care doctor, maybe some other doctor, maybe whoever, or maybe the emergency room, just depends wherever you enter that door, if you will, to the healthcare ecosystem. What we're doing is we're holding your hand through that process. What we're saying is, hey, you're going to start off with Dr. X and then go to Dr. Y and then you're Dr. Z. As you're going here through this sort of healthcare journey, we're going to be holding your hand the whole way through, and you can lean on us for questions, issues. A lot of times we've all had this experience where you're in the hospital and you may have 100 questions, but the doctor can only answer 10 of them or 5 of them, or they may be too busy with other things. Well, who do you lean on? Where do you go? What do you do? You can't just go online and start searching a bunch of stuff and making yourself go crazy. You can actually call a doctor, see one of our docs, have them guide you, have them help you navigate this process. If nothing more, just to give you reassurance that, hey, you're on the right course. What's happening is what always happens. Don't be alarmed. Don't be worried. Just stay calm, stay put, and you'll be fine. Or, hey, there's other options available to you as well. And these may be other considerations that you should have, and maybe ask your doctors about these because maybe they didn't bring it up. And that's kind of what we were offering here on a consumer basis that is very unique to everything else that's out there. So comparing what we're doing to some of the other folks that are out in our world, this is probably the biggest piece that's a unique portion of our product.
We have talked a long time in my business, or, as you guys know, we do video marketing. And when we do video production, there's 3 elements that you can really drive for the product. And they're typically trade-offs, right? So it's time, quality, and cost, right? So really high quality typically comes with higher cost, right? If you want to lower your cost, you got to bring down quality, or time, right? For us, oftentimes that's speed of delivery, how quickly we get it to people. For example, we can turn around a very fast edit at a higher cost, right? Because you need more resources. And most businesses really have these trade-offs. And I would say it's the same, I think, for MyGuardianDoc and CareClix really as well, is okay, time and availability, having good quality doctors available 24/7 like you do. It often comes at a higher cost, right? So typically you have time availability really high. You've got quality really high. So cost you would expect to be very high, but as we've talked a little bit about already, the cost is very low, especially relative to other options that are out there, even lower quality options, frankly. I think that one of the ways that you are able to achieve this is that you have made the situation better for the doctors that are involved. So they get something out of this. It's helpful to them. And you've explained a little bit to me in the past of that. So part of it is, you said, you spread the cost among various people, right? So that are using it all the time. But how do you make this situation better for doctors so that you get the best doctors wanting to work with you and in your system?
Well, and maybe better for a doctor to answer that one.
Well, I think doctors obviously inherently want to do good for their patients, right? They want to make sure patients have good outcomes and are successful. What happens in our system currently is doctors, as we all know, are overworked, and they're running from one place to another place and trying to adhere to internal pressures, whether it's from the payers or the hospital systems and anything else they have to deal with. We've taken that off the table. And what we're saying here is, hey, we've got these patients. We're not putting restrictions on any doctor in terms of what can be done, what are treatment options, what are pharmaceutical options, what are all those things that's a lot of times are the payer driven or hospital system driven. We've taken that off the table, and now these doctors are going to practice freely and really, kind of give their opinions on this patient's case, help guide them, give them the best care possible. And what we're also done is we leverage their expertise, because now we've got doctors across the country that are able to see patients across the country. Obviously, there's licensing regulations which we adhere to, but nevertheless, now you've got doctors that are experts being able to see patients, and those patients may be hundreds of miles away, but now their expertise can be useful for that patient. And so it makes a much more valuable product for those doctors. They enjoy doing it. It's fun, exciting, and obviously a nice caveat to it is they're able to live anywhere in the country that they want to, which makes it very nice.
But there's another piece too that appeals to me personally, and that is, the healthcare system our healthcare system is best in the world in terms of the docs and the technology. I mean, you're just not going to do any better than what we've got here. And yet, there are some flaws and some voids. Doctors are people too. And so when we look at what major media is saying, and I think everybody knows what I'm saying now, is that a large number of people are dissatisfied with the system. So many people kind of fall through the cracks a little bit, not uninsured, et cetera, et cetera. But then there are people like me that have health insurance, have a telemedicine provider, state that, I exercise, I do all of that. But having a doctor, like in our case, our doctors are in sync with the guidelines of what we have as we call the Patient Safety and Care Equity Council. Is an independent body of folks that understand that the differences in people, culture, gender, et cetera, can make a huge difference as they approach how they present themselves to the healthcare system. And so this board is constantly interacting with our subscribers, as well as our doctors and doctors that maybe their primary care doctors are at the hospital, to make sure that safety and equity is a real thing for our subscribers. I paid a lot of money for that before coming here, simply to have, when I'm not well, to have another trained medical doctor that is the one that is my personal doctor that I'm paying, so that maybe the hospital misses something and he catches it. Again, it is an issue. I'm going to throw a number out that look, the system is incredible. There's no question, the best docs in the world. But about 795,000 people per year either die or are permanently disabled as a result of misdiagnoses. My health is too important. I think yours is too, not to have another opinion if I can get it. And if I can get it at $27 a month for everybody in my household, which is what we have, I'd probably have to have a little bit of a brain exam if I didn't do that, because it makes all the sense in the world. Why take chances that you don't have to? Or should I say, why not increase your chances of getting the diagnosis right? Doesn't mean that our doctors are going to get it right. Mistakes are always going to happen. But what it does mean is I feel a lot better knowing that I can have another doctor look at my record, or look at what my treatment or my prognosis, and that only costs me that little bit of money and a modest fee.
And that's the first time really in this interview that we've brought up the cost. It was $27 a month for the entire household, which is phenomenal. As we've mentioned, it's a low cost, but it is amazing the quality of care that you get with it. And I just want to reiterate for our audience, something to think about is, every business faces that time, quality, and cost triangle, basically, right? You have to make trade-offs. What I love that you two have done in the business, that, people that you work with in building this business, is it's really a way around that, right? So you've found a way to have that higher quality, realizing or tapping into the fact that doctors care about their patients, right? They want to help. They feel restricted in many ways in the current system that they're forced to work in. So this is an opening, a new opportunity for them to really be able to help. So they want to provide that. So I would say to our audience, challenge yourselves to look at, are there unique ways that you can deliver higher quality, for example, or, match that problem of the triangle, time, cost, and quality, as we've learned from both of you in this interview today. One additional challenge that you guys have faced in building up the original CareClix business and now the consumer arm, MyGuardianDoc, is driving fast awareness. When you've got a business that needs to have a lot of doctors as part of the system and a lot of patients as part of the system, what are some of the ways that you've been able to achieve that fast growth, or call it fast awareness, as you've built these businesses?
Well, Doc, you started out with CareClix. You want to share?
Yeah. Well, it was everything new. Education is a key part of this, right? So we always try to be ahead of the game in terms of educating both on the doctor side as well as patient side in terms of the services and products that we're looking to deliver to the patient population. Just like right now, we're talking about MyGuardianDoc, and we're talking about this big component of it, which is so a big piece of that, obviously, being the medical guidance piece of this, right? And we're educating people for what that means, what that looks like, and so forth. So when we first started, we had to talked to doctors about this program. We leveraged existing third-party companies that were out there that were marketing to and or speaking to doctors. Hence why we went down the path of working through brokers and benefits groups to get to patient populations, because we could educate through those channels to get downstream to patient populations. Because at the beginning, it was much more harder, obviously, because patients were not very educated about the opportunity to see patients, to see doctors remotely in a virtual type setting. Now that I think it's much more commonplace and people are much more familiar with it and comfortable with it, this is why we're introducing MyGuardianDoc, because we now know, obviously, patients have all heard of telehealth. They know how this all works. They probably experience it at one level or another. And we feel our product is so much superior that now is the time to go ahead and release this on a consumer basis, because we know there's a track record now established with patients that they understand what this is.
Yeah, the other thing when Doc talks about education, the other thing that's very attractive to the docs that are part of MyGuardianDoc and will be a part of MyGuardianDoc is the fact that we are redefining the doctor's role in the healthcare delivery system, where the doctor is the guardian, not only of the patient, but also of his colleague, of his fellow doc. So, when I go to the doctor, they'll treat me, and I will never go to the doctor without taking MyGuardianDoc with me. And so, when the doctor I go see says, "Well, just take this pill, just do this," and MyGuardianDoc says, "Yeah, that's right, you should do that." Or in one case I had where my significant other got hurt. It was a very serious injury. We went to the emergency clinic. We were told to go see this specialist. We talked to the specialist, had an appointment for surgery just that quick because it was very serious, and called MyGuardianDoc, and the doctor said, "Well, that's a great doctor, and I think they'll take good care of you, but it's not the best doctor. This is very serious, and I've got another recommendation for you that you might want to consider." He did, and she's walking and doing fine at this stage of the game. So repositioning, should I say, redefining the role of the doctor, and then the patient safety and care council that is always there, that we have the opportunity to interact with. That's important. That's knowledge and education. And now we've launched also the affiliate program, and so we get to get feedback from regular people, from community leaders, all of that about who we are and what we are and how important this product is. I mean, guys, if you're going into business and if you recognize a huge problem and you bring the solution, man, you're gonna see some serious growth as people begin to understand it. In this particular case, there's a bit of confusion going on because people don't understand the guidance piece at first. Most people do like the cost and the convenience, but once they understand what compassionate medical guidance is, it is like, yes, I want that, and yes, I'd like to be an affiliate, and yes, I'm going to tell everybody I know about it. So that's the stage we're in now.
Thank you. That explains it really well. I like to, for my personal, what kind of the first epiphany I personally had when I first met you both a long time ago and started talking about this business is I've got a couple of family members that are doctors, and some friends are as well. And we reach out to them a lot when we have kids that have accidents or problems or whatever and ask for this advice. And I finally realized, and they're great in their own specialty, right? But they're limited. They know what they know, and that's it. What I love about MyGuardianDoc is it's like having friends in every possible field of medicine, right? So people, doctors that care about us specifically, that we can reach out to, just like my brother-in-law or my friend down the street that can help us out and within their specific specialty. So not everybody has those friends, and even when we do, they're specialists in their own right. So that's what kind of the epiphany I had that really helped me to understand exactly what this is and how it helps all of us. Well, final couple of questions for both of you guys. Are there any resources, books or seminars or things like that in your business journeys have been helpful to you?
Yeah, there's the Deming's book, the guy that is called the father of the Japanese economic development, and quality. He stressed high quality and low cost, and so that really kind of got us going. That can we create a program where the quality is second to none, and at the cost be very, very difficult to find it less than that. Now, at first, that's not a comfortable place to be, but we found it, and it's going very well. There's another book that I've always liked. A couple of books, as a matter of fact. There's one book called Built to Last. Heck, I can't remember the title. I mean, I'm sorry, the author. And another book called Think and Grow Rich. I'm of the opinion that what you want to do is you want to find out who you are, who are you as a company, and how do you build something that will last. And I think if you can tap into, not looking for money, not looking for, can I catch this trend, but who are we as a company? So we started studying CareClix and studying the market and all, and with all of the experience that CareClix had, with all the different cultures all over the world, CareClix can set up a company in a day or two in a country that's never been there before, and have doctors that they bring in that understand the culture, understand. So like, boy, if we could bring that here, wouldn't that be in other words to the U.S. Wouldn't that be just absolutely amazing? And I saw that as a direct to consumer, as Doc will tell you, I kind of taken the lead on the direct to consumer piece, and very, very excited about what MyGuardianDoc is going to mean to the population. But I think recognizing the problem, are you the company that should be taking care of that? Is that who you are? And some people call it, is that the divine destiny of the company, or what the company was originally even created for? So many times companies don't find, out, just who they are and what they mean in the marketplace. And well, I don't want to go too far down that path. So Think and Grow Rich, I think, is an incredible book for anyone. It doesn't matter what level you are. You can be making millions or billions. Yeah, you just aren't going to get away from the principles of knowing what you're going after, putting together a plan, getting the people in place that can help you to make that happen, and executing. So hope that helps.
Absolutely. I'll put links to those books in the show notes for anyone who's driving now. And I believe is it Charles Deming, I think, is the author of that Total Quality Management book. But we'll look up that link and put it in the show notes for anybody who wants to look those up later, all three of those books. So thanks for sharing those. Is there anything I didn't ask, Dr. K or Mr. Scott, that you think would be helpful for our audience?
Dr. K, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would touch upon, and Charlie mentioned this earlier, was I think another unique piece of what we have, which I think will grow more and more as we keep growing the program and the product, is our Care Equity Council. One of the big things in healthcare right now, we've all recognized that there's inequalities across the healthcare system. And I think we recognize that internally because we deal with folks across the country, both on the doctor side and patient side. And so we're trying to level the playing field as far as healthcare goes by bringing in some of the experts from across the country that are very familiar with health inequalities and helping to help have them help structure more of our care so that it meets the needs of different folks and different individuals of different backgrounds across the country as best as possible. And I think that's another unique piece of what we have to offer, which I think is very important. And it's something that I think in the healthcare world, everyone recognizes. And I think now, as from a product perspective and healthcare delivery perspective, we're leveraging and we're putting into what we have to deliver for people.
Yeah, I would say that, the affiliate program, I think, is very powerful for an individual to be able to get involved in their friends and families, healthcare, to be able to deliver them a product like like MyGuardianDoc. I think that is just amazing, and to be able to earn money from it. And some people really need to make money. Artificial intelligence and some of the things that's going on in the economy. So many folks need to make more money. Inflation is crushing folks, and so to be able to have something like this that you can talk to your friends and family about, that doesn't require a whole lot of education. I mean, you're gonna have to learn a little bit about this stuff, but everybody has a body. Everyone's concerned with their health. I mean, it's a simple matter. Once you understand what we have here, just telling other people about it, it's pretty amazing. Now, there's no cost to be an affiliate, and once you're an affiliate and you're a member, you can that becomes tax deductible, which I think is pretty strong as well. So by getting more and more people involved and having a product like this, some of the benefits that associated benefits are access, as you know, increased, fewer visits to the hospital. I like to talk about the micromorts, a lowering of your micromorts or your chances of dying on any given day, improved outcomes, longer lifespans, lower cost, peace of mind. These are what we're talking about. These are the associated benefits of direct care that you can talk to your friends and family about, that MyGuardianDoc will absolutely make a reality in real time. Guys, healthcare costs are increasing simply because, not everybody's insured. Not everybody can pay for some of the stuff. There's a lot going on, and so if we can make the system better by participating in the system, by the community participating in their own wellness, then costs should come down all across the board. My vision is for every household to have a MyGuardianDoc. I know that there'll be other companies that will probably follow our model before it's over with. I'm not trying to get any of you guys to go into competition with us. However, the idea is to bring the service to people, to do good, to help them. And at the end of the day, if you do good, you solve the problems, then the market should reward you. And that's what we are seeing happen right now.
I want to encourage our audience. You can go to MyGuardianDoc.com, MyGuardianDoc.com, to learn more about this great business that they have built. And to, if you want to explore becoming an affiliate or joining, that's great. At a minimum, learn more about it and see what they've done. And it's a really interesting, really paradigm, right, of being able to deliver low cost, extremely high quality, and constant availability. 24/7, these great doctors are available to help all of us with whatever needs we may have. So, Mr. Scott, Dr. K, really, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining the show today.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, John.
Be sure to check out harvestgrowth.com to see other episodes we've recorded. And if you'd like to take a shortcut and learn the process that we have used to profitably launch and grow hundreds of businesses since 2007, download our secret sauce marketing campaign cheat sheet at harvestgrowthsecretsauce.com. Or you can set up an appointment right from our website to speak directly with a member of the Harvest Growth team in a free one-on-one strategy consultation.